Hello there, back here on the PS5 as per usual, and this time with a brand new FPS co-op game. This is Painkiller by Saber Interactive. It's been released only about a week ago or so, and I've been having an absolute blast with it. I'd highly recommend it. Big caveat at the start, I don't know anything about the Painkiller series. I've never played any Painkiller games, if there is such a thing. Maybe there's only one game, I'm not sure. So I've come to this completely fresh, and I got it because I love the aesthetic that I saw in some of the gameplay and the kind of images that they released last year. Looked very Doom-esque. It's all about killing demons. So I was completely, obviously, on board with all of that. And I think if you come to it with the right expectations, I think you'll have a blast. Don't come to it expecting an amazing story. Don't come to it expecting a solo mode. Don't come to it expecting loads and loads of levels. It's co-op based. Even if you play offline, you'll always be a team of three. If you've played a game something like Vermintide, this feels a lot like that, but much more polished and obviously with guns and demons. So this is obviously your hub area. Back here, you've got a couple of demons there where you can practice on, kind of to just get some different combos going. So I thought I'd talk to you a little bit about the mechanics, the weapons, the combat loop, or what's available to you, and then we'll blast through one level. I'm currently kind of offline, just for you to get a feel and see whether it's something that you think you'd enjoy. Bear in mind that offline mode and online mode is completely separate, so any weapons that you unlock in either mode will not be available on the other mode. You'll have to unlock them again on the separate mode, so nothing carries over. That's what I'm trying to say. So there's 4 characters you can choose from, and it's always a team of 3, as I said. Down here you got 3 stations where if you're playing online, each player can go to one of these and you can kind of mess around, as in choose your character, mess around with your weapons, and also look at things like abilities. Here is like the tarot cards. That's the equivalent of the almost like the runes in Doom Eternal, Doom the Dark Ages. So let's have a look. So you got 4 characters. Each of them has got a passive ability. I'm currently with Void, and you can see by choosing him increases my weapon damage by 10%. Soul has increased ammunition capacity. Roach or Rock, I don't know how you pronounce it, increased health by 25, and Ink increases energy restoration rate by 20%. And energy is crucial in this game, and I'll explain why in a minute. So let's first look at the weapons. You always have 2 weapons, and you have a choice of 6, and they are just so cool and so fun. So I thought I'd go through each one of them and just give you a little bit of a taster as to what they look like, what they do, and just like I think they look awesome. So we'll go first with the stake gun. So this is almost like the equivalent of the Impaler in Doom Dark Ages, okay? So cool. So you can obviously impale demons, no problem. So the alt fire that I've got on there is a sticky bomb. Obviously you can completely change that if you want. So if we go into weapons again, the bits here at the top, that's your primary fire, these 2 trees, and then underneath you got your secondary fire, which is kind of your elemental damage. So you can either go down the fire route in this case or the kinetic route. I've started going down the fire route, as you can tell, so I've got it maxed up to that point, which is a sticky bomb you just saw. So let's go to the electro driver. I believe this is a classic weapon from the Painkiller series or previous games, same as the stake gun. So these will be, I guess, familiar to people that enjoy Painkiller or the original Painkiller. This weapon's so cool. Look at it. It looks amazing. You see, just bounce off, and then the secondary fire, blasting of electricity. So fun. And again, if we have a look in there, you have the options, obviously, of electricity down to the left. And then you got the you got two electric options. So one kind of having more AoE almost effect, and one's kind of having a kind of slightly different kind of ricochet effect. Really cool weapon to use. Next, we'll go with the shotgun. Let me actually select it first. Really cool. Obviously, classic weapon. Every game's got to have a shotgun. And my secondary fire, I've gone for the ice spread, just freezes enemies. Again, so much fun. Let's go to the rocket launcher. Oh boy, the rocket launcher. Monstrous. So devastating. And then wait till you see the secondary fire. An actual beam that just cooks everything in its wake. It's just, again, it's just so much fun to use. I can't repeat that strongly enough. Hand cannon. Really devastating again. And then you got I've got a charged shot, as you can see, charged by 3. Huge damage. Again, very, very efficient, very rapid fire. One that unfortunately I haven't unlocked in this section, but I have in the online game, is the SMG, which is amazing. So again, fantastic weapons, and I believe it gives you enough kind of options to modify things as you see fit. So we're going to go all the way down here, and we're going to, okay, this triggers bonus electrical discharges, so we're going to purchase that for that weapon. There we go. All right, so now we're going to choose. We're going to go with the, let's see what we can do here. Yeah, we're going to go with that, and then we're going to go with this. So now I've gone for a triple bolt, okay, with the state gun. So we're going to go state gun. We're going to keep it classic. State gun and electro driver. Okay, so we're going to go that with the secondary. So let's just see what we've got with state gun again. So okay, that's the sticky bomb element, and that's the kinetic bit. Okay. Okay, fine. So now you'll see my state gun shoots out 3 chunks. So good. Then we got that as our secondary. So now another thing I mentioned was about the tarot cards. So the tarot cards, this is like your runes. So each time you play a round, a game, an arena, you can select 2 abilities as long as you have them available or you have enough currency to make them available. Once the round finishes, you lose them, and you have to then re-equip them if you're going to play again. But there's obviously loads of them to look at. So at the moment, let's see if we have any active that we can choose, because I haven't got enough currency, as you can see, to choose them. But there's things like you can deal mild electrical damage, energy regenerates faster, stunning a demon replenishes your ammo, and this was really good. 30% more damage as well. So at the moment, unfortunately, I can't even go to the tarot lottery, which is where you can kind of just get a new card each time, because I haven't got enough of the currency because I've just upgraded my weapons. But that's how that works, and it's again a really cool option in game to kind of give you additional passive abilities. So what have you got available? You've got available a jump, you've got a double dash, and you've got a slide. You can also kind of like jump off walls like that, so you're able to kind of bounce a little bit off vertical surfaces, which is really cool. The movement feels fantastic. The guns feel really awesome to shoot. They're not as heavyweight as something like Doom Eternal, Doom the Dark Ages, where you get really good response back. They kind of feel a little bit light, so bear that in mind, but they are so much fun to use that you kind of get used to that very, very quickly. Okay, so I think we shall now choose a level. So raids is the kind of classic mode. This one, I believe, is where you can have almost like it's almost like a randomizer. I think I haven't played it yet, but I think you start with like a random weapon and you work your way up, kind of through like maybe an unlimited kind of horde mode or something like that. But with the raids, you have 3 biomes. As you can see, each of them has got 3 levels. I've already completed all of these in the offline mode. And at the end of each level, you have a massive boss as well. So that's the only thing. Come to it knowing that this is almost the meat and bones of the game, if you want to call it that. So you can see that, it kind of is a game that hopefully will have more content added to it, because it could become a little bit repetitive after a while. That's the only thing I would say. But anyway, let's go into this one. Going to play the very first level, and we're going to play it on normal, just so you can kind of get an idea as to what it's like, and we're not going to be faffing around too much with difficulty. So you create your game, and in we go.
Azazel's last known location. A simple task for simple mortals.
So one of the things I forgot to mention, which is actually quite crucial, is that you always have one particular weapon equipped on you, and that is the equivalent of your chainsaw. And I believe it's called the Painkiller, which then transforms into its kind of alt mode, which is the Shredder. So to access the Painkiller, you press down on the left stick, and look at this. Oh my god, how cool is that? You just slice through enemies. The idea is that when you slice through enemies, they drop ammo. So this is your ammo regeneration tool. And then you're able to actually, by pressing R1, in this case, I'm able to catapult into one of the points, and it'll kind of allow me to hook across the arena. But with an enemy, if you press R1 onto it, it'll turn into the Shredder, and it'll just bash into the enemy, and it'll actually drop energy cells. And if you look at the bottom right, you see a purple dial. That is the energy, and that gets used up whenever you use your alt fire or your mods on your weapons, not your primary fire. So the whole idea is that, I guess, you're kind of, the alt fire can do a lot of damage to enemies. So then what you have to try and do is then be able to go and collect those resources to recharge it back quickly. It recharges by itself anyway, but that's the combat loop here. The idea is that you get back energy and you get back ammo by attacking enemies in different ways. As far as I'm aware, I haven't seen it so far, you can't get health back. That's only through actual pickups on the levels. So bear that in mind. So health is at a premium. There's no armor in this game. You're just looking at your energy cells and your ammo. So, let's go.
It has performed its function.
Hopefully you'll see it in action, and it'll make a bit more sense.
There are traces of Azazel's demonic energy in the cemetery ahead.
I thought it was an angel.
Here's a little secret. The difference between the two is just one short tumble. Now I don't.
And obviously you've got stuff like
So let's hurry along to the cemetery.
currency to collect. Also, if you dash into enemies like you saw there, or slide into them, you just bash them off. And you can kill yourself like I just did. But you get the idea. You can obviously get your team to do things for you as well. So you've got like a number of different kind of commands. So it can help you kind of open doors or give you pickups if they have them. Look at that. Goodbye. Wow, all the way to there. All right. And there's these sections which only open with certain... mince them up. There we go, bashed into them, and you get all the energy cells here to regenerate. Then you can use your alt fire pretty much straight away. see the bar underneath the demon's health kind of growing. That means you've stunned it enough that you can almost perform a kind of glory kill on it.
My kills are increasingly satisfying.
It's so bloody. I love it.
I'm terribly sorry for stealing the show.
You know that big demons are going to come from these sections here. Oh. Okay, we've done the main objective. That's why the music's calmed down a little bit now. We just gotta destroy those last demons if we want to, or we could just push on. The movement's really slick. Really slick. There you go. One of my teammates dropped some health. Now we go to the next section.
That was an choice.
I suspect here.
Okay, so now this is one of the kind of actions which you'll find in a lot of the levels. This is about collecting blood tanks and filling them up. So the idea is that you get a tank from the section here, and then within a certain radius that it has, you need to kill enemies within this radius to fill it up with blood, and then you're able to actually set it or place it in the correct way, in the correct place, sorry. So we can take it over to somewhere where there's going to be lots of demons. Oh, there's going to be loads of demons coming here, I think. Okay, so it's full now, so we can place it, and now we've got another one to do. Okay, there we go. So we've managed to do those now, and again, music calms down, and you can progress to the next section. Let's just get some resources. Okay.
I believe here.
I can do that.
It just plays really smoothly. There's been like a couple of times where there's been a slight stutter in gameplay, but nothing major. Considering it's only recently launched, you know, there'll be no time by which they'll be kind of adding updates and patches and things like that. It's running very well, I think. I love this gun so much.
It's been busy. I do like a bit of distraction.
I believe here.
Okay, let's get our teammates to come and join us. Sometimes in those sections you get health as well, so now we need to defeat 3 enemy waves. Okay, what a bigger demon has entered the arena now.
There's a hellfire in the air.
Okay, we need a bit more energy. We weren't able to get it there, so we went towards a big demon instead of the small ones. So as you can see in the bottom right, it's kind of recharging. I missed my shot with my sticky bomb there. Okay, so now we go to the next bit. Oh god, I thought I thought I pressed the button. There's a fair bit of like exploration in between as well, where I'm not doing a load of it in this round, but you can kind of, you know, just take your time exploring some of the sections between the different fights to maximize your kind of loot and things like that. So okay, so we'll try and pick up some things here.
But his sacrifice saved my people. Every sacrifice saved my people.
Okay, so now we go down. Collect some loot. Hopefully you can see how fun this would be playing with friends. It's pretty fun even offline, to be honest. Especially if you end up having like a coordinated approach for combos and stuff, I can imagine that being really fun. Let's wait for all our teammates to come down. Okay, so we have some other blood tanks here. So we're going to go towards where we're going to have some demons appear.
We have a desecrator in our midst.
Here we go, there's going to be some here. I think maybe we lost the original blood tank. Maybe it fell down the side. That normally doesn't happen, but at least it respawned. Okay, some more enemies coming here. Okay, so this blood tank is ready. So we've got to try and get everyone out of the way to position it. Okay, let's go and get another one.
Increased blood in the tank.
Whoa! Gotta watch out.
Extra blood in the tank. I get more blood.
Okay, so this one's ready. Oh, Desecrator's entered the arena. Combining different types of damage as well is what gives you higher kind of damage output when it comes to enemies as well. So it kind of encourages a bit of quick switching, or at least combining your two weapons. Which is a good thing. Okay, let's get this somewhere more visible. Okay, so this one's ready now to be inserted somewhere. There we go. Okay, so we've inserted all three blood tanks. Now we can collect any resources we want, but we can now progress out of this level. Onto the lift. So it has got a combat loop. It's not as in-depth as something like Doom Eternal at all. But I like the fact that it's got those kind of mechanics that does encourage you to be thinking about your resources, thinking about what to do next, and not just simply running and gunning for the sake of it. So I think it does have kind of thought into it to enable you to get the most out of each scenario.
Pleasantly surprised. Don't let my praise go to your head, though.
And obviously the developers mentioned that they designed the arenas and designed the experience, designed the combat loop to be played, obviously, in co-op. Hence why it being a co-op game. So obviously, as you know, so bear that in mind. It's not just all about you being an ultimate powerhouse, because really that doesn't work in a FPS co-op game. You have to have an element of dependability on your team. So it is a little bit about strategy, coordination, sticking together, and that's where I think playing with actual humans, I think this game comes into its own, especially if you have maybe, you know, close friends and you can kind of chat and communicate and try to coordinate attacks. I could see this like being incredibly fun within that realm. So there you go. You can have a look at your how many combos you did or whatever like that. You've got like a raid summary, and you've got your stats and things like that. And then just return to the lobby, and you've got obviously certain rewards for doing that, which then allows you to go in and do more things to your weapons, or do anything you want. And as we'll see here, you know, we didn't have any additional passive abilities with our tarot cards, but I'll just show you how that looks when you have a look at it here. So you could have a look at the lottery, which I mentioned before. So here you just see what we get. Okay, we've got a new card we didn't have before. That landing from a height freezes nearby enemies. Okay, and then you can equip. Now I've got 8 of the currency at the top right. Now we can equip some cards for another run. So I spend that type of currency when I want to bring cards back, because after each raid, as I said, you don't lose them, they just become inactive. So obviously this is good, 30% damage, can restore it. And then maybe so we don't have to use more of them, we'll use the one that we got this time, which we don't have to restore at all. So we'll add those 2 to our pack, and then that gives you your additional passive abilities. So that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour. Hope it wasn't too much of a rambling tour. But overall, I think this is a really solid, fun gaming experience. As I said at the very start, don't go into it with the wrong expectations. I think it provides a lot of flexibility with the 6 weapons. It might not seem like a lot of weapons when you look at it first of all, but I think the amount of tweakability that they give you within it, and so much variety within it on how it kind of responds, your weapons respond to the environment, to enemies, I think really makes for kind of like a fun experience that's kind of a bit unique to you. But where it comes into its own is obviously in the cooperation angle. So, you know, imagine like, you know, you're able to coordinate with some of your friends, maybe bombarding some enemies with fire while you're kind of electrocuting them as well, or they're kind of using kinetic energy while you're kind of slicing them with something else. So there's a lot of kind of ways in which you can really have fun in this game. I personally think it runs great. I think it looks great. The only thing which I would have loved a little bit more, as I said at the very start, is the kind of response to the player. So in terms of, for example, jumping, landing from a height, dashing, I don't get a huge amount of response from those actions. Even utilizing some of the weapons, they feel sometimes a little bit on the light side. I'm not talking here about the feeling within the controller itself as to some of the feedback, actual physical feedback that you get on PS5 controllers. I'm talking here about player feedback of feeling like you're firing a weapon, and that comes to sometimes the sound design and the kind of just that kind of feeling of impact, which I think is where it can be very hard sometimes, it seems, for FPS games to achieve. The new Doom games do it perfectly. Serious Sam is another series I can think of that do it really well as well. So this isn't bad at all, don't get me wrong. I'm having a great deal of fun, but that's one thing that I did notice at the start. Another thing that might be worth pointing out, because it bugged me for a while and I was thinking, what the hell's wrong with this? But actually, there was nothing wrong with it. It's just a very sensitive game when it comes to some of the inputs. So because in this case you're using your left stick to actually access that weapon, I was finding that actually if I was putting a little bit too much pressure on that stick when in the middle of combat, this weapon would actually be popping out at random times without me realizing that I was actually, or feeling that I was even pressing down on the stick, like actually down, that I was just moving around. So just bear that in mind. I had to almost like have a much lighter touch on the left stick to ensure that this weapon didn't keep popping up in between combat. At one point I almost thought, is this some kind of bug or something? It was that strange. And I think it's just because I think a lot of games that I play anyway on the left stick, pressing down, the worst thing you'll do is that you'll dash, but here, because it's linked to a weapon, I think maybe I noticed that without realizing maybe I was just being a little bit too heavy-handed or got too comfortable with doing it. So I thought I'd mention it just in case it's something that you encounter. But overall, a fantastic game, really having fun with it, and hopefully this gave you a little bit of an insight about what it's like and whether it's something that you think you'd enjoy as well. So thanks again for watching. Take care. Catch you all very soon.